super excited for this. Let's all welcome Darren to our stage with a quick video to kick this off.
Thank you, Patrick. I'd like to start by thanking the staff at Benzinga. Your relentless reporting brings tremendous awareness, knowledge, and insight into the cannabis space. I'd also like to thank each and every employee at GrowGen. Their hard work and dedication inspires me every day. My keynote speech today will outline the steps it took to get to GrowGeneration from a startup to a $2 billion plus market cap NASDAQ listed company with over 600 employees and revenues approaching $500 million. I'd like to share with you the key milestones, the challenges we faced, and how we overcame them, and the watershed moments that got us where we are today. I'd like to take you back to the winter of 2014. Colorado was on the cusp of becoming the first adult use state in America. I was done staring at computer screens all day as a Wall Street trader. In my previous life, I was an SEC attorney that represented the small cap companies back in the 1990s. And early parts of 2000, a legal background that would serve me well as we navigated through the public markets. How did this journey all begin? My partner, Michael Solomon, and I identified the hydroponic markets as very fragmented. Think of the old days of the drugstores, hardware stores, lots of small operators, no national chains, no brand, and very little, if any, scale. Our entrepreneurial instincts went into hyper mode, and we realized that this market needed to be consolidated, professionalized, scaled. And if we could do this with the customers in mind, we could create the largest chain of hydroponic centers in the United States. Of course, we had no idea how we were going to do this, but that didn't matter because our minds were set. We were going to be the largest chain of hydroponic garden centers in the United States. Lesson 1, you must stay the course once your mission is set. You'll run into naysayers, challenges, distractors, but you must stay focused and disciplined on your core mission. Too many small startups take on too many projects, lose focus on their company's core mission and competency. Once you lose your way, it's hard to bring the company back to center. In the early years, I might say the lean years, no salaries for our first 2 years of our development, started with our first acquisition of a 4-store chain in Pueblo, Colorado. We learned and immersed ourselves into the business, the cannabis culture, and more importantly, the cannabis nightlife. That story will be for a different day. We got to know each other and every employee, the suppliers, the products, met many growers and owners of other hydroponic stores. We became our own experts. We understood at this development stage, growing is not easy, highly technical and specialized. We understood that the growers were not only our customers, but would be the central focus of everything GrowGen would become as a company. From 2014 to 2016, we grew to 14 locations. We were growing at over 100% per year. We knew we had a great business, and we proved to ourselves we were now worthy of being in the public markets. Too many small companies chase the public markets, seeking capital, but many of them are ill-equipped to run their day-to-day operations and the rigors of running a public company. It's akin to a young married couple who can't stand each other. They decide to have a child to help the marriage. Big mistake, doesn't work. Lesson 2, prove your business concepts and build your revenue to a level that you can scale before going public. Run your private company as a public company, legal, accounting, understand every cost, attract public-private equity. It brings tremendous credibility and will keep you focused on the ultimate prize. The public markets are a great tool to raise capital, reward your employees with equity in your company, and create leverage through the transparency and liquidity of the public markets. One of the most memorable times in my career was ringing the bell in Times Square on December 30th, 2019. It was a rainy day, but we didn't care. I was with my senior staff, family, friends to ring the bell. It's really a button, but don't tell NASDAQ I told you. I've watched the closing bell for so many years. As I'm standing in front of the camera in the countdown to the closing bell at 4 o'clock Eastern time, Grow Generation became a NASDAQ-listed company, and I let out the loudest yell of my life. High fives around, Jumbotron with GrowGen and lights in Times Square, bottles of the best red wine and Italian dinner. It just doesn't get any better. A milestone that was achieved through hard work, quarter-over-quarter consecutive revenue growth. In fact, we just announced our 13th consecutive quarter of record growth. Lesson 3, bring in the right banking partners and institutionalize your ownership of your company. Post our NASDAQ listing, we hired Oppenheimer to do 2 raises in 2020. One for $43 million, the other was $172 million. Both raises were significantly oversubscribed. Since it was still COVID, all of the roadshow meetings were done virtually, and we literally raised $250 million from our home offices over a few days for each financing. We are now 54% institutionally owned, with some of the largest fund companies owning our stock. This has contributed to increased trading volume, valuation expansion, and long-term holders of large positions of our equity. One of our primary financial goals was accomplished. The capital from the institutional raises has been used to grow the business from $30 million in 2018 to today approaching $500 million this year. In addition, we purchased and opened over 30 locations during the 2021 period. Lesson 4, bring in the pros to run and operate the company. GrowGen was not a small startup any longer, and we knew that we needed to hire professionals to operate the business and see our vision through to the billion-dollar revenue milestone. The company added Tony Sullivan as Chief Operating Officer in the fall of 2019, which brought operational structure to GrowGen. Today, we have added Jeff Lasher from West Marine and Crocs as CFO, Dennis Sheldon as Senior VP of Supply Chain, and Paul Rutness as Chief Marketing Officer, as Chief Merchant Officer. The team you bring will be instrumental in seeing your vision through to the next phase of growth. Select carefully, and done correctly, you will ensure your success for many years to come. I use this sports analogy that a sports team that has chemistry across all players leads to championships. Businesses are similar in a lot of ways. Team chemistry is key to fulfilling your business visions. Lesson 5, evolve with your industry. As your business grows and changes, so does your industry. You must identify market trends, your customers' buying behaviors, and adapt to the market. Stagnation creates negative growth, and lack of innovation will threaten your leadership position. Be nimble, pivot strategically, but don't lose focus of your mission as a company. Executed well, you will fuel growth, deliver more value to your customers, and set a path to acquisitions that are accretive and complementary to your core business. The fall of 2020 will prove to be a historic milestone in the evolution of the cannabis industry. I call it the green wave. As New Jersey and Arizona legalized adult use cannabis, in Montana, South and North Dakota, and Mississippi all voted overwhelmingly in favor of the creation of medical cannabis programs. New York, New Mexico, and Virginia would follow shortly thereafter in the early parts of 2021. With now 17 states and Washington, D.C. with adult use laws in place and 36 states with the medical laws, the need to adapt to the changing landscape was critical for Grow Generation to maintain its leadership position. We recognized the need to develop a business model that would work for the large commercial cultivators. In 2019, we created GrowGen Management Corp. Solely to develop the business model to service large commercial growers. Today, this division will break $125 million in business and employ a dedicated staff of commercial account managers, customers, service reps, quoters, and purchasers, all dedicated to service the growing number of commercial licenses. In closing, Grow Generation is a 7-year success story. We grew the business from 2 million to 4 million to 8 million to 15 million to 30 million to 80 million to 190 million, and now guiding to 470 million for full year 2021. We kept our heads down and stayed the course. We scaled the business and attracted the right capital, surrounding ourselves with a professional team to run the day-to-day operations. The public markets are useful when used properly and for the right reasons. We are in the most dynamic paradigm shift this country has seen since the high-tech boom in the 2000s. The wine and spirits industry are approaching sales of $1 trillion worldwide and $350 billion in the United States. We are in the early stages of a multi-decade of growth as cannabis sales are at the $20 billion sales number and expected to grow to $100 billion by 2030. The medical and social benefits, job creation are changing people's lives, makes the hard work all worthwhile for our industry. I hope my experiences and lessons add some ideas and thoughts to your critical decisions making as you build the next billion-dollar company in our industry. I leave you with a note I received from one of our employees who wrote this note to the executive team. Welcome to your destination for growth. There's something different about being a grower. Soil in your hands, sun on your shoulders. Watching the growth cycle from seedling to maturity. It's a firsthand experience, one that flourishes with in-person participation. This distinctly physical nature thrives inside an environment exclusively devoted to the world of growing. Whether you're a budding hobbyist or a commercial grower, the quest for a bigger, better grow is never ending. There are always revolutionary techniques to learn, new approaches to embrace, and novel ways to push the plant to yield more prolifically. At Grow Generation, we are proud to be your destination for growth. We support your momentum by stimulating growth at all levels. Growers benefit from hands-on access to an expansive inventory, an active exchange of ideas, and a rich dialogue outside a community that's passionate about sharing wisdom. We understand that you have a passion for growing and are on a journey to grow the best. That's why the most important thing you grow at Grow Generation is you. I'd like to thank you for your time and certainly have a wonderful, wonderful conference. There are some tremendous CEOs speaking, and there'll be some amazing information during the next 2 days. Thank you and enjoy.
Darren, thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate you being here. GRWG, you guys, you've asked for it. Darren came, he obliged us, and this company has killed it. You know, I remember Miami several years ago, Darren and Michael coming up to me and saying, hey, I think this is going to be a big deal, you know, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And look where they are now. These guys have absolutely destroyed it. So Darren, anything you want to leave us with? Any markets you're particularly excited about? I know you got a jet, but any last words of wisdom here?
You know, Patrick, I do think for the investors at the conference today, this is a multi-decade. You'll see, you know, growth in the cannabis for many, many years to come. Don't watch so closely. This is the early innings of a multi-decade, you know, again, you know, long game. And I do believe that you're going to see some tremendous, tremendous things coming out of the cannabis industry. I do believe you'll see some, you know, certainly, you know, information coming out of our government one of these days. And, you know, the CEOs and the companies that surround this industry are so wonderful. The passion involved is unbelievable. And enjoy the next couple of days. There's going to be so much learning, and I look forward to being in person in October in New York. I am a New Yorker.
Man. Heck yeah, yeah. Well, that's why we're bringing it right to your backyard. It looks great out there. We'll just host it there, man.
Thank you so much, Patrick, and enjoy. I appreciate it so much for having me here today.
It's our pleasure, Darren. Have a good day, man.